Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And it's been roughly a couple of weeks since we've last caught up. Today is Saturday, the 3rd of May. It is voting day here in Australia, where we get to try and vote for our next Prime Minister. Fun days. So, by the by, it's quite busy traffic-wise around here, so hopefully revving of motorbikes, car engines and all the rest doesn't interfere too much. The weather here at Wollongong is beautiful. It is sunny, not too much cloud. Surprisingly, the wind actually is okay as well. It is known to get a bit windy here, but with it not being too windy at the moment means that sound may carry a bit better. Why I'm also talking a bit about the weather at the moment is, at least along some parts of the east coast of New South Wales, we've been getting a bit of rainy weather, cloudy weather and such, which I love. It means that the temperatures are a little bit cooler, and it does mean that when I have to work during the days when it's all gloomy and rainy and such, I would much rather be doing cross stitch and such. But I feel that it's a similar thing for many people here, so I'm preaching to the choir. Anyway, speaking of stitching and the weather and all the rest, since we last caught up, we've had Easter and we've also had ANZAC Day here in Australia. And it meant that I was able to take a few days off between the two long weekends, and that meant that over the over that time we were down at Malore Bay having a change of scenery, enjoying time with family as well, and I was able to get a lot of stitching, meaning that I lived the dream of eat, stitch, sleep, repeat, and my body is feeling the effects of it now. I'm feeling slightly sore muscles in my elbow and forearm because this is my right arm, it's my stitching arm, and I am finding that I need to learn how to do the two-handed stitching method because I hope that will improve how my muscles are feeling at the moment. That said, as part of the whole eat, stitch, sleep, repeat component, during the nearly 10-day break that we had, I averaged maybe 6 to 7 hours per day of stitching, which meant that I was able to get 600 to 800 stitches done per day on the main project that I'm focusing on. My best day, where we didn't go out for lunch or really do much, I was able to get over 1,000 stitches done on Grinch Santa Claus, and I'm chuffed with myself. With all of that said, let's get into the actual stitching things, and I want to show you at least the cover page to begin with of the project I'm talking about. So this is Grinch Santa Claus. It's by TomStitches or TomStitch. TomStitch on Etsy. That's where the pattern was purchased. And this is where I'm up to. So I've trimmed the fabric since we last caught up, which means that I've done some counting and I've made sure that where we see a bit of the stitching on the left hand side here, that's as long as the project will be. This is as wide as it's going to be. There's still a bit of work to do. There is, however, a lot of stitching done between now and when you last saw the piece, and I am loving how this piece is coming together. To try and change things up for me, I am now wanting to try some, what is it? I've got confetti long stitch on the brain. This piece does have a lot of confetti in it, but it does have a really nice balance of some solid block stitching as well. Colour completing cross country, extreme cross country. That's where my headspace is trying to go for what kind of stitching I'm trying to do with this. So to put into perspective, at the moment I'm wanting to focus on the colour 939, and I'm just bringing up some stats here. So with Grinch Santa Claus, 939 has 1,886 stitches that still need to be put into the piece, and that covers a good chunk of the piece in terms of providing some outline of key areas, and I'll then be able, if all goes well, be able to use some of those 939 stitches as a springboard or a guide for where some of the other stitches will go, especially with some of the other colour completing that I'm keen to do. My aim with the colour completing is to aim for the most amount of stitches to the least amount. Now, 939 isn't the most number of stitches of colour out of the entire piece, it's the fourth most. However, I've chosen 939 because it not lines up, aligns with some of the stitches that I've already put into this piece. So at the moment, on the right hand side here, where I've stitched more of the piece, I'll be able to fold this over a bit, and my aim is to start stitching down a bit and follow the pattern to the best I can. I feel nervous about doing this extreme cross country because other times in this piece and other pieces, I've thought I've done all the right things and counted correctly, and I've stitched myself up a little bit where I've been out by a square, out by a stitch, or out by a few, and then thrown everything else out, and I've had to unpick components of it and fix it up. And then I've felt grumpy with myself, thinking, why did I do that? I should have just kept with the method that works well for me, of just slowly working my way down or slowly working from left to right, whichever combination works, and just do whatever stitches are within a particular area. Still do the cross country stitching because that's what I'm comfortable with, but not do it to the extreme because I get myself into trouble. I'm hoping that I can change a little bit with this and just pay a little bit more attention, not rush myself, and be a bit more aware of when I'm feeling tired. So if it's not quite working for me where I'm feeling tired, then I know I can switch over to another colour that's in that area and just bring things down or across. Wait and see. So, some more stats that I do have for you with Grinch Santa Claus is I have reached 33.99%, noting that it is nearly 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and I am planning on doing some more stitching later today into the evening, and definitely doing a lot more stitching tomorrow. So those stats are going to continue to tick over. So far, I've stitched 22,212. I've got cricket on the brain for this one. If anyone here is a cricket fan and knows all about the 2 for 222, you'll know what I'm going on about with that. So the reason why I'm talking about how many stitches I've done so far is noting that this piece has 65,340 stitches in total. We'll get there. I guess based on percentages and such, a bit over the third of the way there, and it's going to be so much fun as I keep stitching down and seeing the piece come to life. It is an awesome piece. I still have the aim of trying to get this done by early August. I really hope it will happen. The wonderful thing is that the person I'm stitching this for, I caught up with her earlier today and showed her an update of how this piece is going, and she's still in an absolute amazement with this. She's loving seeing the progress of it, and has been so wonderful and kind, saying that it's totally okay if it ends up being a couple of years that it takes me to finish this. I don't want it to stretch out for 2 years, because the focus for this is the fact that I'm stitching this for a friend, and more importantly, I've been commissioned to do this. It's not like I'm doing this out of, I'm still doing this out of the kindness of hearts and such, and very much dedicated to wanting to do this. The difference, though, is compared with, say, other pieces that I have in my stash and in rotation, that these pieces have no specific deadline. They're not for specific people. And I think that the only exceptions to this particular rule is the next piece that I'm about to share with you, where it does have a deadline that I want to try and reach. So with all of this in mind, the next piece that I do have to share with you, I just need to move the needle minder out of the way, is a piece called Under the Sea by Lakeside Needlecraft, and it has been designed exclusively for Lakeside Needlecraft by a wonderful person whose name I need to look up because I've had mental blanks. Thank you for bearing with me on this little edit. I found the cover page for Under the Sea by Lakeside Needlecraft, and it has been exclusively designed by Durene Jones. I love the colours in this particular piece, and that's what's drawn me to really want to work on this piece. And this is where I'm up to so far. I stitched this, I put a few hours into this on ANZAC Day, partly because it was a public holiday and I just needed a break from the Grinch because I'd been putting so many hours and so many stitches into it every day. So while I was down at the coast and spending a little bit of time on this, my main focus was the sea turtle that we see. I have filled in a little bit more stitching around the bottom here. I have also put some more stitches into some of the plants here. This is looking really cool. I'm loving this. And the aim is to get this particular piece done by the end of this calendar year, if not very early next year, because I want to enter this into a major show next year. And the cutoff time for when the stitching needs to be completed and such is early January by memory. And then I need to get the entries in and such by perhaps late January, if not early February, to allow for postage of things and such. So fingers crossed, all goes well. That is pretty much all of the stitching that I have to share with you at the moment, noting that with this particular piece, I am stitching this on fabric called Tropical Ocean, and it's by Paddock Lane Designs. I am stitching it on 28 count opalescent even weave. Again, I will most likely be gushing over this fabric for as long as I'm working on it, because it is absolutely awesome fabric to be stitching on. It is fantastic. That is pretty much all the stitching that I've got. However, there is a stitching related thing that I came across on the internet when I was just needing some background noise, background music, and such while I was working. And one of the really interesting things I came across was this TED talk that at the time of listening to it, it had been, I think, released on YouTube or something similar to that about 5 days ago. So we're talking now nearly a week ago, touch longer, and I'm going to put it in a link to it in the description box below. But the importance of why I'm talking about this and what I loved about it was that the lady was talking about the importance of us going back to crafting and really, really, really embracing it, because aside from doing, say, something like cross stitch, she wasn't being specific about what crafting it was. It was more about the fact of being creative and reminding everyone in the audience, and I guess all of the listeners as well, that in the world that we are in now and everything that's going on, it can be easy to get or feel overwhelmed by it. And by choosing to embrace the crafting, whether it be you cooking or music, dancing, writing, playing, and what I love with this is the lady was saying it doesn't matter if you're good at this or not. It is all about just being creative because of the therapeutic benefits that go with it, and that it enables your mind to, I guess, work on things or think about things that you've potentially been feeling stuck on. And by relaxing and just being creative and doing coloring in or even pottery or anything that you see as being creative is an absolutely awesome thing, because it also helps our mind to relax. And I'm doing a very poor job of trying to describe what this TED Talk was about without giving too much away, and also recognizing that I'm preaching to the choir here, where we all know the benefits of cross stitching and being creative in that sense. What I am encouraging though is, if you do have a look at the TED Talk and you enjoy it, that I hope you can share it with family, friends, and colleagues, whoever, because I think it is something that everyone can benefit from. Also noting that I don't know who this person is. I don't remember who their name is or anything like that. I have no affiliations with them whatsoever. It was just a TED Talk that I found really interesting, and something that I thought that you guys might be interested in as well. So I'm going to wrap up now because I've seen a bubble pop up on my screen saying that the battery power for my laptop is getting very low, and I don't want to waffle on any more than I have right now. So thank you for bearing with me, and I look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time and sharing with you some amazing progress on the Grinch Santa Claus. See ya.